do you see any difference within your life, how you live it now versus before?
Yes, completely. First of all, I go a lot slower in what I do. I don't rush as much as I did. I'm more grateful for my family. Hi, my name is Ariel Johnson, and I'm a traumatic brain injury survivor. Traumatic brain injury can also stand for TBI, which is an acronym for that. So my story is, on December 13th, 2007, the morning of, I was driving back to school on a free period. They didn't close campus that day. I have no idea why, but it was hailing, snowing, sleeting. It was just bad. So I drove a 1983 Mercedes-Benz, and I was old car, new driver, not a good mix, but it was great. Like, I loved the car. So I was driving back to school in a free period, and I swerved into the oncoming lane. I had hit a white van. And then from there, an off-duty EMT professional, and he actually is a teacher at the at Millneck Manor School of Deaf. His name is Tommy Winslow. He saved my life at the scene because of the seatbelt was choking me. And then from there, an amazing team of firefighters and EMT brought me from Locust Valley Fire Department, brought me over to Nassau University Medical Center trauma unit. I recently heard from my cousin that I had no idea about this, and it's amazing to hear, and I had like a moment, but they shut down. So I don't know if you know Long Island, but I heard she said that they shut down all of the intersections all the cops did. They shut down all the intersections so I can go through, because they were gonna airlift me, but they couldn't because the weather was so bad. So upon arrival, I was immediately put on life support and intubated. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Intubated, where they put a tube down my throat to help me breathe. The doctors and surgeons were like, okay, we need to do surgery because I was internally bleeding. So I had a subdermal hematoma, and they did a glass coma scale, which is how they assess someone who's the cognitive functions and the consciousness of the brain. So it's from 3 to 15, and a 3 to 8 is you're in a coma, and I was between a 3 and a 7. Now, like a 14, 15, that's like you and me now. Well, not me, but like that's like you or my boyfriend, or just someone who's normal, basically. So from there, they did a craniectomy. So basically, they removed the right part of my skull. They took it out to relieve the pressure, and they took it out and they kept it out because they needed the swelling to go down. They put it in a freezer, and I heard that they sometimes put it in your stomach, but they didn't do that with me because of potential infections, I believe. So they put it in a freezer, and they took out the right skull. My mom and dad fought tooth and nail to get me out of the Nassau University Medical Trauma Unit, right? Because there was not much they can do in the ICU from there. There was no therapies that I could be like given and stuff. So they sent me to Mount Sinai Hospital on 100th and Madison in Manhattan, one of the best traumatic brain injury centers basically in the world, right? So when I got there, they changed my medication to Ritalin, which is an amphetamine, to wake me up from the coma. A little while after, they put a feeding tube in me so they can give me the nutrients that I needed. Okay, so let me tell you something. When you're in a coma, it's not the way the movies portray it to be. You're not just laying there like peacefully in a deep sleep, like Sleeping Beauty. No. It's actually super, super scary because you can become very, very aggressive, in which I was. So while I was restrained, literally my hands tied there, things up my nose to help me breathe, IVs, they had me doing, my mom and my dad and my family basically got me all the physical therapy I needed, all the occupational therapy that I needed while I was still in the coma. So this is the part that's crazy, and I remember so vividly, and it was so crazy that I remembered it, right? So I was in a wheelchair walking down one of the hallways of Mount Sinai with my mom and my sister Amber. We were walking, and all of a sudden I mumble, "I'm thirsty, I need some water." And that's when they knew that I woke up, that I was back with them, that I was aware, and I was alive. So I believe I woke up at the ending of January, right? So I got to Mount Sinai around Christmas, like December 26th, around there. So I believe I woke up at the ending of January. When I woke up, I could not feel my right side. I remember laying in the hospital bed, and all of my family was there, and yeah, I couldn't feel my right side. I had tubes all over me, and from there I learned how to speak. I learned how to walk, talk, do everything all over again. But I'm really happy that I remembered everyone, and so I just remembered it happened like this. I had to do every type of therapy known to man. I had to walk up and down steps. I had to walk around the hospital to learn how to walk again. You know when you're on the Gravitron and it's pulling your weight, it's like pulling you down? That's exactly how it felt. And then over time it got very, it kind of got like, it was weak, but then it got stronger and stronger with the more experiences that I had with it. But now it's just super, super sensitive to water or anything really, really cold or anything really, really warm or hot. So I have to like double check with my right side first. I believe I left around Valentine's Day. Now I still had the in-cave skull. The skull bone was out, right? And I remember being in the hospital, and I had to go to the bathroom or something, and I was walking with the walker, and I looked in the mirror, and I like got really bad weenies, and I didn't collapse, but I was just like, oh my gosh, because I saw my in-cave skull, and it was just like not a good, it was too much. So then around Valentine's Day, I had left and I went back home on Long Island, and I still had physical therapy. My parents and my family created a room downstairs where I lived for a short while because I couldn't walk up the stairs. So from there I had physical therapy, occupational therapy, and then I believe I celebrated my birthday. All my friends came, it was great. And March 3rd I went back, and then I had a helmet, right, on my head because I didn't have a skull, so God forbid I fell or something, it would have been an issue. So March 3rd I went back to the hospital to get, it's called a cranioplasty. And it's basically when they put an acrylic plate in, put an acrylic plate in with metal, with screws. And then this time I was awake for the ICU, which was not fun, but it had to be done. I had a little bit slight pain, I remember, from that, but just from it healing. But I took just like medicine and stuff, and it was fine. So March 19th I was out for good. March 19th, 2008 I was out for good. I went back home, hung out with friends, family, of course, and it was really, really great, right? So then my parents were like, what do we do? You know, I celebrated, I walked on graduation, I got a standing ovation, which was amazing. So I was able to do that. But then right after graduation, it was like, okay, the best thing to do for TBI, traumatic brain injury survivors, when they first initially receive their trauma, is to get them in day programs, get them in rehab, to get the pathways, working again. So I was at a day program at Mount Sinai Hospital for about 6 months to a year, like in and out of all of the phases. I believe it was called phase 2, where I was there from like 9 a.m. to the afternoon, and I met some amazing people, amazing survivors, and amazing people that helped me grow and just blossom, right? So the brain injury rehabilitation team at Mount Sinai is dedicated to helping patients continue pursuing active, independent lives, which really did help because I became really independent afterwards, which was amazing. Following a brain injury, because the brain controls emotional behavior. There's so much to a TBI, to a traumatic brain injury, to having a traumatic brain injury, that it's crazy, like emotional regulation. The big thing was creating changes in my personality, cognitive, a person's identity. So the team treats the complex effects of a brain injury, such as difficulty walking, communicating. That was a big thing, especially when I was angry and I was upset. They really helped me find new ways to get to a solution, but in a nice way, and not just, I wouldn't just react. So limitations in memory and thinking skills, so also social, emotional, and cognitive issues. My parents also put me in every possible study there was. Best doctors and everything. I remember doing a light study. I remember doing a social study, where I would be introduced to just different survivors. Along with that, once I was finished with that program, or it was like in between, I went to Manhasset, Long Island Jewish, for rehabilitation, physical and occupational. So yeah, that's basically my story. If anybody has questions, please ask, comment, subscribe. Ask me questions so I can help you. If you're a survivor, or if you're a person taking care of a survivor, because I know that could be very difficult. And there will be more to come.